Good morning, Washington, Baltimore, and all the ships at sea. Or all the skiers on the slopes. How are you all doing, everybody? If you can, I'm not, get the camera over there. You can kind of, I don't know if you can see out the window, or but there's about a foot of snow out there. It's winter. It's Washington. Get over it. I guess people are all crazy about it because it's been a while since we had measurable, heavy, what you would call heavy snow. I was here back in 2010 when we had the Snowmageddon. It was 3 storms that hit in early February, one right after the other, and we had 36, 38 inches of snow on the ground after it was all said and done. I remember that. So this is about a foot out there now, maybe a little more. But that doesn't seem to be too bad, Take it easy. Take it easy. I was listening, I'm listening to WMAL. They're doing a good job. I'm listening to WTOP. They're doing a good job. WNEW they're all doing a good job, Dave Dildine, heard Dave Dildine driving around Reston saying it's all, oh gosh. So there you go. I have to say, despite a foot of snow out there, I went down in my bare feet and shorts this morning, down my stairs to my front door, and there was my Washington Post right there at the front door in a little yellow bag. So I was really thinking, okay, a foot of snow, we're not going to get the paper today, but here it is. Must have been a fairly early edition, though, because I don't... well, here's their big news. The big news, of course, Paul Farhi breaks all the big news. Odd allegations against Woody Allen gained new life in Vanity Fair. This story is going to just rocket the media world today, all over the place. Paul Farhi. I'm saying that facetiously if you didn't. Is this hat on right? I just feel like it's crooked. I hate people like, hi there, I'm Dave. Oh, I didn't say it. It's the 13th of February. 13th of February 2014. But the big news, which didn't make this edition of the Post, maybe a later one, is the fact that the Comcast has announced that it's made a deal to acquire Time Warner. Now, Comcast is already the biggest cable company, biggest internet provider in the United States, I believe the biggest internet provider in the United States of America, and they also own NBC and, all these cable networks like CNBC and MSNBC and Bravo and the NBC Sports Channel and Comcast Sportsnet, and, and now they want to get even bigger. So, Comcast right now, in the Baltimore, Washington area, they're the dominant cable TV and cable internet provider. They own systems all over the place. D.C., Montgomery, Prince George's, Baltimore, Howard, Prince William, Loud here in Reston even. They own everything. They own Channel 4. They own, what is that, one of those Spanish channels? It's one of the tele-something channels. Blah, 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 it's just, and they want to get even bigger. Now, what that will mean is, I don't think there's a lot of overlap between Comcast and Time Warner systems in many markets. Washington, it's pretty much a Comcast market, because they're just so friggin' dominant. But in places like New York and down in Raleigh, North Carolina and stuff, you see Time Warner, New York City, and they're going to, basically it's going to mean Comcast will become, the dominant cable provider in places like New York City and throughout a lot of markets that have Time Warner systems. And, I don't know. I look at, what's his name? Wheeler, Tom Wheeler, who's the new head of the FCC, comes from the, used to be the head of the National Cable Television Association or whatever. And I'm sure he's an old buddy with Brian Roberts or whatever his name is who runs Comcast. They probably go golfing together and go out drinking together and whatever. And I'm sure, he wants to make Brian as rich as he can get. And, maybe when Tom is finished his duties at the FCC, he can go jump on the Comcast, Time Warner, NBC, whatever, Universal behemoth bandwagon and be set for life if he isn't already. So I firmly believe the corrupt FCC, those who are being regulated are regulating. They're regulating the regulators, right? It's the people in the media businesses go to the FCC, and then they regulate their friends in the media business who then come and work at the FCC and go back to. You see that in a lot of American regulatory systems where the people that do the regulating used to be the people that were regulated. And they kind of come and go, and they basically care only for the wealth of their media buddies and media titans that run these big companies, and very little for the consumer. I can't imagine the consumer being served by having less competition and fewer choices, and it's a fallacy. They keep saying, "Oh, but look at cable TV. Look at all these wonderful choices. There's 300 cable channels." Yeah, but you know what? The vast majority of them are owned by 5 or 6 companies. Basically, you have 5 or 6 companies like Discovery and NBC, Comcast, and whatever, Turner, Time Warner. There's another one. Time Warner runs a bunch of, they run CNN and stuff like that. I presume, I haven't read all the details, but I don't think this deal is going to include all of Time Warner's cable outlets, because that would just mean Comcast would even be effing bigger. I think it means their cable system. So, but, I haven't, when we see Celia Kang tomorrow's piece in the Post, I'll have to let you know. I don't know. So he had Julius Genachowski, who ran the FCC for the last few years, and I said that's the guy who killed broadcast television. Basically made it to the point where so many people can't get decent digital reception that they have to go to cable. Try putting up an antenna just about. You might get a few channels, but you're certainly not going to get all your channels unless you've got a really good rooftop antenna. If you live in an apartment or a townhouse or whatever, your house faces the wrong way away from the city, you're not going to get good reception. And I think he was the one guy who basically, if you want to say, here's the guy who killed broadcast television for free broadcast television. That's what I'll say. Not broadcast television, but still broadcast television. Free television. The guy who killed free broadcast television, Julius Genachowski. And now the guy who's going to lead us into that one glorious day when we'll have one giant media company running everything, Tom Wheeler at the FCC and the federal. And they should put the third C in the FCC. Call it the FCCC, the Federally Corrupt Communications Commission, because that's what it is if they approve any aspect of this deal. Yesterday I had a very nice time. I will not tell you who I met with, but I met with a bigwig in Washington radio. We had a nice time chatting. A really nice guy. He goes way back to a whole bunch of different stations and whatever. And interestingly enough, when he was a kid, he was in the Philadelphia area like I was. We were just across the river from each other, listening to the same radio stations, Wibbage and WFIL. So that's kind of interesting. And I look at the career paths. He's a big radio executive, and what am I? I'm just this crazy idiot that does this crazy blog thing. I don't know, a media blog. I don't know. What am I going to do about that? I don't know. But he wasn't from WNEW, obviously, because that's one of the big mysteries. We're all saying, what the F is CBS doing with WNEW? I think everybody thinks, every media guy I talk to that doesn't work for CBS says that, what the F are they doing over there? It's been 2 years, and the ratings are going down. They were 31st in the 25-54s last week, or for the third week of January, or whatever. It's like the ratings are going down. They're not getting any audience. Their signal sucks in most of the area. They're not doing any promotion. The website's terrible, and they just keep on trucking. They're trying to wear WTOP down so maybe that Hubbard will sell them, but they're not, because TOP's ratings are great. And yet, the ratings for WNEW are going up in Baltimore, a market they're not even actively serving. And we're just sitting there going, what the F's going on with WNEW? It makes no sense. So my birthday, thank you very much. My birthday was over the weekend. My birthday was over the weekend, and a friend made me a camo cake. Why? Because I like to wear camo. And she put all these little army men on it. I thought that was cute. All these little plastic army men all over the cake. So I've been having little battles. The tan army men, the tan army men are WTOP, and the green army men are WNEW. and they're fighting each other, and you know, of course, you know, the tan ones will win, but I don't know. I don't know. Okay, so I did it on my birthday, and a friend gave me a $50 gift card to Best Buy. Okay, so I figure I'll buy something at Best Buy, and I thought, you know, I want to buy something special. You know, I don't want to go buy ink cartridges for my printer. You know, that's not a birthday present. You know, I need them, but you know, they run $25. I don't want to go buy ink cartridges for the printer or, you know, DVD burning discs. You know, I don't want to do that. That's like not fun. I said, I want to buy something fun. So I went around, and this, I said, I found this. It was $50. And the card took care of it. So I said, okay, this is what I'm getting. So I bought a Roku. You know, there are 3 Rokus. There's the $50 one, there's the $80 one, and the $120 one. And I kind of asked the guy there, I said, what's the difference? They all look pretty much the same. Oh, well, one has a headphone jack on it, and one is a faster processor, and it gets maybe a couple more channels, but I don't really know. Yeah, I said they look like the same thing. They all get pretty much the same channels. This one has an HDMI thing, so it does give you HD TV. So, you know, I don't know. It just seems silly, you know, buy the cheaper one. But anyhow, I hooked it up. You know, the other thing I did, and you might call me somewhat of a Luddite. I mean, I am very much, I do HTML and all that, but I just got Wi-Fi here at the place. You know, I mean, I haven't had Wi-Fi ever. So I have the modem, I have the cable, and I usually just use one computer. And then when I'm, you know, out with my notebook or whatever, I just go to Starbucks or something to use the Wi-Fi. I don't do it here. So, or I latch onto a neighbor's Wi-Fi. I can get my neighbor across the way. But I don't have my own Wi-Fi. So if I want to, like, update my other computer, I have to, like, turn the modem off, take the LAN cable out, you know, Ethernet cable, run it across the room, plug it in. You know, I do that, but it's a nuisance. So I finally said, you know what, I'm paying Comcast, soon to be Comcast, Time Warner, Universal, NBC, $7 a month rental on this modem, and it costs the same for the Wi-Fi thingy-dingy, so I went over there and got the Wi-Fi thingy-dingy. So now I figure if I got the Wi-Fi thingy-dingy, let's try the Roku. So I said I'm not going to spend any money on the Roku programming, okay? So I'm only doing the free stuff. But I did find some cool free stuff on there. The Jerry Seinfeld's Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. I found that on one of the channels. And Crackle channel. The Crackle channel was free. That was kind of cool. And there's the PBS stuff on there and stuff. I may do Netflix one of these days, but you know, I just said I'm not paying for anything right now. I'm just going to see what kind of freebie stuff they got on there. And quite impressed with what I found so far. So, anywho, me and my Roku. Bad, sad news. Stash. Steven Smith over there at used to work at 98 Rocks, and he's had a lot of troubles. Remember, he fell down the stairs one day, almost killed himself, hit his head. Has a record of bad driving, like a mile long. You know, drunk driving charges. People were injured back in 2012. He went to jail for a while and went to rehab and all this other stuff. And looks like he's cleaning up his life. And then somebody emails me over the weekend and says, check out the Maryland court proceeding things. And yeah, there's a whole bunch more charges for Mr. Smith's stash. You know, he needs to, I don't know, you know, some poor people just never can get over booze, period, and it destroys them. And let's hope that doesn't happen to Stash. Let's hope he gets his shit together and gets back on the radio and keeps his career going. I don't know, man. It's really sad, but it's sad. You know, some people, the drugs just take over, and that they, you know, it's like the Philip Seymour Hoffman thing. Man, there's my sermonizing for the day. But you know, of course, the drunk driving is even worse because, yeah, it's, you know, you're putting other people in danger. If you're doing heroin in your bed, you know, in your apartment in New York City, you know, what are you going to do? Harm yourself and maybe, yeah, your loved ones, but I mean, psychologically, but you're not going to kill anybody else. When you're driving around in a car, stoned or drunk, you're going to, you know, you could very likely injure little children or kids or whatever, you know, moms and sucker moms driving their kids around. So, you know, shame on you, Stash. What else is going on today? That's about it. It's kind of, other than that, kind of a slowish news week. Anyhow, folks, okay, so the big weather, foot of snow here in the Washington area, and then it's going to warm up. And next week, next week in the 60s by the end of the week. So spring can't be far behind. Thanks for watching Dave TV on DCR TV. Book 'em, Dano.